Murder squad detectives are still questioning a man after a series of hit and runs in Cardiff, which left one woman dead and 13 others injured. 9 people are still in hospital, 2 of them in intensive care. Detectives said it appeared the suspect had been carrying a weapon and got out of his car to assault his victims. They're now studying CCTV to piece together what happened. Ashatana reports.
Karina Menzies, a mother of 3, was walking her younger daughters home from school yesterday when she was mown down and killed outside a fire station near her home in Ely. The 32-year-old was one of 14 people who became victims of a hit-and-run rampage through Cardiff. The chaos that ensued at the start of the school run has stunned the community, who are still trying to come to terms with the death of this young mother.
I heard a helicopter and I said to the boys, there's a helicopter over my house. It sounds like it's going to come through the roof now, and I didn't realise. And then my friend knocked the door and said, look, some idiot's gone round, you know, knocking people over. And I was going, oh, what's happening? Like, and they've said they said a name, and I just obviously devastated. I mean, she was such a lovely woman. I mean, she was, you know, she was part of the street, part of the community. She was very loving. I know she looked out for her family.
In the space of just half an hour, there was bloodshed across a 3-mile trail of the city as the driver indiscriminately ploughed into pedestrians. The drama unfolded when South Wales Police received calls about 2 children and an adult who'd been injured in Crossways Road in Ely at 3:30 p.m. This was soon followed by other reports of hit-and-run collisions in the west of the city. At Grand Avenue, 2 children and 1 adult were injured. The driver then targeted 2 different locations on Cowbridge Road, where 3 children and 2 adults were hit and 1 woman was killed. The last stop was at Leckwith Retail Park, where 2 adults were also injured. Eyewitnesses also reported that the driver of the white van left his vehicle to physically assault victims using a crook lock. 70 police officers have been drafted in, and a 31-year-old man is being questioned on suspicion of murder. This afternoon, officers described the events as traumatic and made an appeal for information involving another car.
At about 3:25 yesterday afternoon, a black 05 plated Renault Clio was seen travelling on Western Avenue in Cardiff, near Tesco's Extra. It was travelling on the wrong side of the road, heading in the general direction of Ely. My appeal is anyone who was in that area at that time that may have seen that vehicle to contact the dedicated line that we've set up at the incident room in Cardiff Central Police Station.
9 people remain at University Hospital of Wales, including 5 children. 2 adults are in a critical but stable condition. Tributes have been paid to the victims via social networking sites and through prayers here in Ely, as well as across Cardiff.
It's a very close-knit community, it's a very supportive community. And whenever there's any bad news here, everybody pulls together, like no other place I've ever worked. You know, the people of Ely are wonderful.
As the community struggles to understand why someone would carry out a senseless attack on innocent people, police are tonight investigating unconfirmed reports whether the suspect was also involved in a domestic incident before the rampage.
Well, our Home Affairs correspondent Andy Davis is in Cardiff. Now, Andy, we've just seen the shock of people there. What's the mood tonight?
Well, Chris, people here, just as you'd expect, just completely stunned at what happened here yesterday. Imagine the scene. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. This is a main arterial route going into the centre of Cardiff. The schools have just finished. Parents are walking home along the pavement with their children when suddenly, out of nowhere, this whole road is transformed into effectively into a crime scene, and it's the seemingly utterly indiscriminate nature of the hits which people are struggling to process here. As a local priest said, people are just too numb to speak about this horrific sequence of events. And it wasn't just a few minutes. This went on for nearly half an hour before that van was stopped over in Penarth, just a few miles away. So people are completely shocked at this, and of course a sequence of events which tragically ended here with the death of a 32-year-old woman.
And is much of that area covered by CCTV?
Yeah, there's a lot of CCTV along this road. It's one of the main roads. I've seen some CCTV today. We haven't got the footage. The police no doubt will take an interest in it, and they're not releasing any CCTV. But it's very striking. It shows at 3:30. It's taken from a shop just about half a mile up the road here. And it shows at 3:30 precisely yesterday, a young couple with their daughter in a pushchair, with a child in the pushchair, walking along the pavement on that side of the road. Just as they leave shot, as they walk past camera, in the next few seconds, you see on this side of the road, on this pavement, a white van. And it's going along the pavement here. It suddenly turns off at a sharp angle and crosses straight over this road, over 4 lanes, heading directly in the direction of that young family. And then 3 minutes later, you see a policeman sprinting past the camera. And I've talked to a woman who got there very soon after the impact, and she said she saw the van go straight into the back of the young woman, and the man was standing there with his child in his arms in complete shock, saying, why has this happened?
And some of the victims themselves are very young.
Yes, it's very striking. Of the 14 casualties yesterday, 7 are children aged 12 or under, and 5 of them are still in hospital. There's a 2-year-old with facial injuries. There's a 23-month-old child still in for observation. So, imagine how those parents are going to try to explain to those children why this has happened. Everyone wants to know why, and it may be some time before we understand that. The man who was arrested is still in custody, and the police said today they're not looking for anyone else in connection with this incident.
Andy Davis, thank you.